This next lesson is going to cover exponents, factoring, and quadratics day 3, so make sure you're on the right set of notes before we get started. We've done day 1 and day 2, so this is day 3. Alright, so our first example, they want you to go ahead and grab your graphing calculator and type in y equals 6x squared minus x minus 12 into the y equals. Now, it's going to have you do this, and you don't have a graphing calculator, that's fine, just try to follow along with what I'm about to do. Let me go ahead and grab my graphing calculator. Oops. Sorry. Okay. So, in y equals, type in, I already forgot what it was, 6x squared minus x minus 12. Oops, that is not a 12. Alright, now if you don't have a standard window, go to zoom and then hit 6, but it should look like that. Now, to find the zeros, that would be where this guy crosses the x-axis. And I'm looking at the two of them, and I'm thinking they're probably not even, nice, lovely numbers. They're probably decimals. Well, they are decimals. So we're going to use our calculator to figure out how exactly to find those numbers. Unfortunately, if you want to find both of these intercepts, you can only find one at a time. The way we do that is we go to second, and then trace, and then we choose number 2, which is called the zero finder. Now it's going to ask you a couple of questions. It's going to say left bound first. Let's say I want to find this intercept right here. I need to take my left arrow and drag my cursor so he's just a teensy bit to the left of the intercept. What I'm doing is I'm zoning in on a smaller window so my calculator can actually do calculus. Once you're there, hit enter, and then it's going to say right bound. So you're going to scroll a little bit to the right of that intercept. So I'm zooming in on it for the calculator, and then go ahead and hit enter. And then it'll say guess. Just make sure you're close enough to the intercept so the calculator doesn't get confused. So hit enter one last time, and it's going to pop out an answer. It's going to say negative 1.3 repeating, and then y is 0. So one of my answers, one of my zeros or x-intercepts for this graph is negative 1.3 approximately. Now that happens to be the fraction negative 4/3, which that's how the ACT would write it, but I'm sure you can figure that out. Now we can do the same thing to find this other intercept. You'll have to bring it up again, so second trace, and then choose number 2, which is the zero finder. Okay, now you just want to be a little bit to the left of him, and I'm right there, so I'm going to hit enter once I'm right there. And now a little bit to the right of him, hit enter again, and then hit enter one last time when it says guess. And that intercept is at 1.5, which is exactly 3/2. And those are my two solutions. Now, depending on what this question was really asking, they may have just wanted one of them if it was an application problem, but for now, let's just go ahead and show both. Okay, our next example, y equals 4x squared. If you tried typing that on your calculator, it'll look just like that. And just because I don't want to have to type this in right now, I can tell you that this guy has a solution right there at 0. Now this is what's called multiplicity. The solution shows up twice algebraically, so it just bounces off at 0. It's not actually an x-intercept, but it is a solution or a 0. Alright, this next question, when you go ahead and grab it, does not have any x-intercepts, so it does not have any real solutions. So we have no real solutions. Turns out this guy does have imaginary solutions, but they're not real. In most cases, they don't really care to tell you any more about the imaginary solutions on the ACT. Okay, this next example, negative 2x squared plus 6. We can go ahead and do this on our calculator. So let's go ahead and pull that up. Go to y equals, whoops, and type in negative 2x squared plus 6. I'm going to go ahead and find this left intercept first. So I'm going to pull up second trace, and then 0, and then drag my cursor a little bit to the left of him. Once I'm there, I'm going to hit enter, and then a little bit right. Once I'm there, hit enter, and then enter one last time, and this guy is a negative 1.73. So we're going to write that down, and then I can tell by the symmetry of this graph, if this is negative 1.73, this guy is positive 1.73, so I'm actually going to kind of cheat and say I'm done. Now, I guarantee you the ACT would not want an answer of negative and positive 1.73. They would want something more exact. So what you would do at this point is look at their exact answers that they gave you. One would be like the square root of 3. And find out which one matches your decimal. It turns out this is positive and negative square root of 3. And when I look at this next example, I see the only place it crosses is right here at x equals 2. Now, if you don't believe me, you can find it on your calculator. But the only real answer this guy has is x equals 2. And that concludes day 3 notes.